Namaste and welcome to today's video on the fascinating origin of yoga. I'm host, and today we'll take a journey through time to explore where yoga came from, how it evolved, and why it's become such an important practice around the world. Yoga is more than just exercise. It's a way to connect the body, mind, and soul. Join me as we uncover the ancient wisdom and spiritual roots of yoga, a practice that's over 5,000 years old. Yoga's story begins thousands of years ago, even before written history. Archaeological evidence from the Indus Valley Civilization, which flourished around 3000 BCE, shows that early forms of yoga may have existed long before the Vedas were written. On ancient seals discovered in the region, we see figures seated in meditative postures, resembling the ones we use in yoga today. While these early forms were not called yoga yet, they represent the earliest known traces of this practice. The idea of connecting mind and body was already present, and over time, these practices would evolve into what we now recognize as yoga. As we move forward in time, yoga begins to take a more defined shape during the Vedic period, around 1500 to 500 BCE. The Vedas, India's oldest sacred texts, contain the earliest written references to practices that resemble yoga. At this stage, yoga was more of a spiritual practice tied to rituals and chants. The idea of controlling the mind and body, along with the concept of meditation, was deeply connected to achieving spiritual knowledge, or moksha, liberation. The Upanishads, which are philosophical extensions of the Vedas, further elaborated on the mind-body connection, laying the groundwork for the yoga that would follow. But it wasn't until the classical period that yoga was truly systematized. The great sage Patanjali, sometime between 200 BCE and 400 CE, compiled the famous Yoga Sutras, a text that forms the foundation of modern yoga. In this text, Patanjali outlines the 8 limbs of yoga, also known as Ashtanga Yoga. These 8 limbs include moral guidelines, physical postures or asanas, breath control, pranayama, and meditation, dhyana, all aimed at achieving spiritual enlightenment. Patanjali's system provided a clear path, transforming yoga into a disciplined practice that is still followed today. After Patanjali, yoga continued to evolve, particularly during the post-classical period. This period saw the rise of tantric traditions, which shifted the focus of yoga toward the body and energy systems. It was during this time that Hatha Yoga emerged. Hatha means force, and this style of yoga introduced physical postures and breathing exercises to balance the body and mind, preparing practitioners for deeper meditation. Hatha Yoga is the basis for most modern yoga practices you see today. This shift toward the body was revolutionary, and it laid the groundwork for yoga as a physical practice that we're familiar with in the modern world. Yoga's modern journey began in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when Indian spiritual leaders like Swami Vivekananda introduced yoga to the Western world. Initially, the focus was on yoga's philosophical and meditative aspects, but by the mid-20th century, the physical practice of yoga, thanks to figures like Tirumalai Krishnamacharya, B.K.'s Iyengar, and Pattabhi Jois, gained global popularity. Today, yoga has evolved into various styles: Vinyasa, Ashtanga, Bikram, and many more, each catering to different needs, from physical fitness to mental well-being. But at its core, yoga remains a spiritual practice, just as it was thousands of years ago. The word yoga comes from the Sanskrit root yuj, meaning to unite. It symbolizes the union of the mind, body, and spirit, and a connection to the universe around us. While many people today practice yoga for its physical benefits, its true essence is much deeper. Yoga's ultimate goal is to bring balance, peace, and harmony to our lives, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced yogi, remember that each pose, each breath is a step on a much larger spiritual journey. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history and origin of yoga. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content on yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. Remember, yoga is not just about what happens on the mat, it's about how we connect with ourselves and the world around us. Namaste.